The year was 1971. Lagos was bleeding money. Police were overwhelmed and robbers were like gods, but one man stood above the rest. And when the government finally caught him, they made sure that everyone came out to see how it would end. This is the madness of Ishola Oyenusi. Here's how it started. Back in the 1960s, Nigeria had just gotten independence, but peace was nowhere in sight. Coups, civil wars, too many ex-soldiers walking around with guns and no jobs. Crime was rising fast. And then, enter Oyenusi. They say it started in Ebutemeta. One day, a car drove past and splashed mud all over him. He looked at the car. He looked at his dress. He made a vow that one day I'll own one. I don't care how I get it. And that was his origin story. But that's not the only story. He told some other people that he became a robber because his girlfriend needed money. And he was broke. So he stole a car. And he shot the owner. So we don't know which story made him what I don't know. Different stories, sane man. Maybe he likes playing with people's heads. By the mid-60s, he was already stealing cars, robbing shops, moving with gangs. He called himself Doctor, but it was a nickname. There was no degree, no training, just vibes and audacity. In 1967, he pulled off a major robbery, Standard Bank on Yakubu Gowon Street in Lagos. He and his gang stole 14,000 pounds. In the 60s, 14,000. Oyenusi wasn't just robbing. He was wild. Ikeja military barracks. He targeted a paymaster. You heard that right. He tried to rob soldiers inside of their own base. Of course, it didn't work. He was caught and sentenced to 25 years in prison. He escaped custody. The next year, April 1968, he tried to steal a car from a soldier in Surulere. He was shot. He survived. Arrested again. Sentenced to 10 more years. He escaped again. Somehow, this man just kept escaping from custody. While in prison, he linked up with other gangsters like Babatunde Folorunsho, aka Baba Oni Lace. You might know him better as Mighty Joe, a real gangster in the streets. Oyenusi was fearless. He would rob in daylight. He believed his charms made him bulletproof. He lived large, fine clothes, the best food, moving around like a king. Then came the final straw, the Wahom robbery. Wahom stood for West African Household Utilities Manufacturing Company. Yeah. It was a factory in Ikeja, and on March 27, 1971, they were about to pay staff salaries, so 200,000 naira in cash. Oyenusi's gang ambushed them. They shot and killed the police escort, took the money, and bounced. But this time, they made mistakes. The car that they used for the getaway, it was found. Police detectives from Robot Squad in Lagos traced it back to the factory. Then they started questioning the staff. They started piecing things together. Turns out the factory admin, the gateman, even the factory manager, they were all involved. It was an inside job. Once the names started rolling and the case started coming together, Oyenusi's name came up, of course. A special police squad was formed. They tracked him to Ibadan, where he was hiding in plain sight. He was running a beer parlor and building material shop. Like a normal businessman. Meanwhile, he was Nigeria's most wanted at that time. May 7, 1971, someone recognized him while he was walking along the road in Ibadan. Police started chasing him. He tried his best to run away. One of the police officers shouted something in Yoruba. A crowd of civilians joined the chase. Oyenusi was caught, unarmed. He confessed almost immediately, told the full story, named his gang. Then he still had the guts to boast to the police that bullets can't kill him. But the Nigerian military government, they were not playing. By then, there was a new law, the Robbery and Firearms Decree of 1970. If you used weapons to rob, you died, no questions. Oyenusi and 6 of his gang members were put on trial. So from August 11 to August 26, 1971, a special military tribunal tried the case. They were found guilty of armed robbery and murder. The sentence, death by firing squad. On September 8, 1971, the whole of Lagos came to Bar Beach. Over 30,000 people gathered. Some came to celebrate. Some came to see if Oyenusi would really die. Some just came to hang out. The 7 men were tied to stakes in the sand on the beach. The soldiers raised their rifles, fired. 6 men dropped instantly. Oyenusi, he was still standing, still smiling. A doctor walked over, confirmed that this man is still alive. So they shot him again, and finally, he fell. The next day's headline, Oyenusi smiles to his death. You would think that his death, being so public, would stop others. It did not. By 1976, armed robbery cases had gone up by almost 900%. Why? Because soldiers who had fought the Biafran war had come home jobless and they were weaponized. Because the rich were getting richer, there were no jobs. Because people like Oyenusi had become legends. Even now, his name still comes up in gist, in films, in stories like mine. He was the first robber that made the whole of Nigeria stop and watch. Then came the likes of Anini, Osumbo, Shinorombo, Godogodo. Was he a monster? Was he a myth? Or just a man who thought that he was untouchable? One thing is for certain, what lived inside Ishola Oyenusi, it wasn't just evil, it was chaos in human form. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you like stories like this, please follow me on all my social media. They're in my bio. Thank you.